Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking specifically about a question I get fairly often from medical students. How do I look good on electives? And for what it's worth, I'll be talking about anesthesia electives just given my background. But a lot of these pearls apply to electives of any kind. So whether you're interested in dermatology or surgery, specialty, radiology, anything like that. People will do electives to get some experience because they may not be too sure if that's really what they want to do with their career. Other times you're sure, I want to do this with my life, this is the residency I want to do, but you need a letter of recommendation. So that's a common way people go about getting that. For whatever reason you do an elective, there are a couple things you want to be mindful of as you're getting started. One, if you're getting a letter of recommendation out of this, you really want to meet with that program director ahead of time. Schedule a meeting with his or her secretary, have some time alone, and talk to them about why you want to pursue this career, what you aim to get out of the elective, and let them know that you're interested in getting a letter of recommendation. This is the number one mistake I see people making. They ask for the letter at the end of their elective, and then we're wondering, I wonder what specific details we can put in the letter that pertain to this applicant, not just a generic letter. So people will watch you differently if they know that you want to get a letter out of the rotation. Anesthesia in particular, you're working with different people pretty much every day, different attendings, fellows, residents, and that can actually be pretty annoying if you're trying to find one person to get a letter from. But in reality, we tend to pool our comments together, and the program director will create kind of a cumulative letter to actually incorporate feedback from everyone. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. As far as the day-to-day workflow, it's really important to understand that it feels like anesthesia, there's so much variability. You may start off with a really busy stat case. The induction process is really involved. Emergence can be really involved, but you want to get familiar with the workflow for whatever elective that you happen to be doing. And that requires time. You spend a couple days just watching, see what the residents are doing, see what the nurses are doing, see what the attendings are doing. Try to get a feel for how you can facilitate things, whether that's gathering supplies or helping with charting or anything like that. People come into anesthesia thinking, okay, yeah, I get to intubate or I get to start peripheral IVs. They're more focused on doing the procedures, which is actually hard to come by. Because if you think about it, if you're assigned to a resident or a fellow or an attending for a day, you may be doing maybe one case, maybe up to 5 or 6 if you're doing shorter cases like ophthalmic surgeries. But the reality is you may not do as many procedures as you think, but there's a lot to get from it. For this reason, you want to have appropriate expectations, and this is what I always ask my trainees about. What do you want to get from this rotation? What do you want to learn? What procedures do you want to do? What things do you want to see that I can potentially see come to fruition? Because I want this to be an educational experience for you, whether or not you're interested in anesthesia. And if you're someone that's doing an elective specifically because that's what you want to do, let people know. Sometimes people will do electives just kind of in the background. Oh yeah, I'm going to get a letter out of this. You want people to know. You want the department to know, even if you don't plan on staying there, because people are motivated to teach people that are interested in what they're doing. That's just human nature. So let people know, be honest, like be outgoing, show up early, stay late, see how you can help. A lot of common sense goes a long way. There's no magic to looking good on electives. That being said, a lot of people will feel like they have to do something. They have to actually show how smart they are or how hardworking they are or anything like that. At least for anesthesia, all I care about, show up, help, try to learn a couple things, and go home. Read about your patients, read about the surgeries, ask questions at appropriate times. Again, going back to the analogy of anesthesia, kind of like a flight where you have takeoff, landing, and then sort of a cruise control autopilot in between. If you think about general anesthesia as that, where you have induction of anesthesia on the beginning, emergence at the end, and then you've kind of got the maintenance phase in the middle. That's usually the time you want to ask questions, and we can talk about monitors and ventilators and pharmacology and surgical considerations and things like that. It's not a good time to be asking about certain things during rapid massive transfusion or an unstable airway or hemodynamic lability, things like that. Like, we can get to that at an appropriate time. All right, I have to say this because I've seen this happen a couple times. Don't let it happen because this will really rub attendings like me the wrong way. But if you happen to be on a rotation where there's more than one medical student, they may be in a different operating room or they may be doing a longer elective or a shorter elective than you. It doesn't matter. do not one-up them. Be cordial, be team players, work together, because that's something that's an instant turn off for people like me. Teamwork is what it's all about, and whether that's learning as a medical student or facilitating a case, you want to be cordial and helpful. You don't want to be antagonistic and have this rivalry and competition. Yeah, you may both be interested in staying at the program, you may both be interested in getting a letter of recommendation. There's no reason why you can't be cordial, especially in a field like anesthesia where there's so much emphasis put on team and patient safety and things like that. You want to promote that. You want your actions to show that. You don't want to be that medical student who's like, oh yeah, I'm all that. I know everything, who's always trying to one up their colleagues. That shows, and it really turns residents and attendings off. So be mindful of that. Finally, one of the most common follow-up questions is, okay, well, I'm doing a general anesthesia elective or an elective in whatever. How do I prepare for it? How do I know what to read or what articles to read or who to ask for help or how to get involved in research, things like that? One thing you could do is just ask your colleagues, ask the senior medical students, ask people who just finished the elective. Another thing, ask the residents. We don't expect you to know all these things. You're there for an elective. You're there just to learn some basic things, get your hands dirty, and that's it. Try to make the most of that experience. That being said, for anesthesia in particular, there are some pretty good guides, and I'll link them below in the caption, that outline some basic things for anesthesia that I feel like all medical students, regardless of whether or not you do anesthesia, should know. Okay, finally, have fun. Medical school is an incredible time, especially by the time you get to electives. You've endured so many exams, so many core rotations. Enjoy it. A lot of people will do anesthesia because it's considered an easy elective in a lot of places. To me, that's a turnoff. I don't like teaching people who don't want to be there. You may as well just go home, and I'll actually dismiss them early because I'm not going to waste my time. But be enthusiastic. There's always something you can learn from an elective, whether or not you're interested in it. Show up early, stay late, try to help. I mean, it goes back to just work ethic, and then you'll make the most out of that elective, whether or not you're interested in pursuing that particular field. So hopefully this video helps answer some questions. Please leave me comments below, and I'll catch you all in the next video. Have a great week.